In this video, I'm going to walk you through our brand new report, the 1099 and W-9 preparation. To access this report, you'll go to Clients, Dashboard, click on the Client of Interest, go to the Month End Close tab, and then scroll down to the Vendor and Account Review Reports. Now, the whole goal of this report is to help you collect the needed W-9s from your vendors so that you can then file the needed 1099s. If you click on the report, it's going to show you a list of vendors that by default match a couple of criteria. Criteria number one is that the year-to-date spend must be past this $600 spend threshold. However, you do have the option to change this if you'd like. So if I change it to 0, it should show me all the vendors essentially in this connected QuickBooks account. And I'm going to change this back. Also by default, we don't include credit card spend in this year-to-date spend total. However, if you'd like to change that, you can click Edit Transactions and then toggle this Include Credit Card Transaction Spend on if you'd like. You also have the option to include excluded transactions, exclude specific accounts, or exclude specific transaction types. I'm just going to leave all these blank though for now. Once you've filtered your vendors as you see fit, you'll be shown the list of vendors that you now want to collect W-9s for. There are two groups of folks that you can send the request to. You can either send a request to the vendor directly or to your client. So if I wanted to send a request to my vendor, first you need to ensure that there is an email available. If you don't have an email available, you can request it from your client or find it however you need to find it, and then type in the email here. Once an email is available, I'm going to use this vendor as my example. I'll go to this request W-9, select the vendor, preview the email if I'd like, set my reminders, and then click Send Request to Vendor. That will then send an email directly to my vendor asking for them to upload their W-9. To show you what that looks like, here's the email that I receive as the vendor. I'll then click this button here to be taken to my vendor portal. Here, I can either download a copy of that fillable W-9 if I don't have one already, or I can click to upload a file, or lastly, I can just drag and drop from my local machine directly into the portal to upload my W-9. Once I've uploaded the file, I'll see this document available to me directly in my report. Now back in the firm side, notice I now have this icon here, which shows me that a W-9 has been uploaded and ready for me to review. Once everything looks good on my end, I can click this Approve button. This will show me the uploaded W-9, as well as the information for the vendor pulled from QuickBooks Online. Here I can make any changes that I need to make. So let's say, for example, I needed to update the vendor ID for some reason. I can also update the phone number if I need, the address, etc. Make any changes that I'd like. And once I'm ready, I'll click Approve, and that will push this new information that I've updated into QuickBooks Online. Additionally, if you go to the Approved tab, you'll see that vendor here so that you can again review information if you need. You can also request W-9s directly from your client. To do so, you'll click the Email button, switch this to Client. Again, you can preview the email and set your reminders, and then say Send Request to Client. And I'll do that on 2 of these. If you're sending requests close together, we'll only email your client once, letting them know that they have W-9 requests in their client portal. Here's the email that the client would get, letting them know that they have W-9 requests in their portal. If they click on this link, first it'll ask them to verify themselves if they're not already verified. Once your client has gone through the verification process, they'll be taken directly to this W-9 request page. This will show the client, the vendors that you've requested, and any information that they might need to help them figure out which W-9s they need to upload. When they're ready, they can click this Upload W-9 button, select the relevant file, and then that again will go back to your view in the report. So now that my client has uploaded their files, again, I can see the W-9s are ready to be reviewed. If you don't need to request a W-9 from a vendor, by default, do know that if you said 1099 was not needed in QuickBooks, we still pull those vendors in for your review. But if you decide, hey, I don't actually need to file a 1099 for the vendor, you can toggle off this 1099 needed and say exclude, and that will move the vendor over into the excluded tab. As a very last note, if you need to review the transactions that make up this year-to-date spend, you can click this icon right here, exclude any transactions that should not be calculated as part of that year-to-date spend, and then that will update the report accordingly. Hope this was helpful. This is our first release of this report, so really looking forward to your feedback, and yeah, let us know if you have any questions.